Hello and welcome to Money Matters. COVID lockdowns in several Chinese cities, including the trade and logistics behemoth Shanghai, have crippled the world's factory. Proof of growing trouble came as March and April PMI data showed China's manufacturing sector contracted more than expected, meaning the second quarter of 2022 might well be the darkest hour in China's fight against the pandemic. Zella Chin reports on how an economic glitch on the mainland could ripple out to Hong Kong and the rest of the world.
Hong Kong is a re-export hub of Chinese-made products.
China's pursuit of zero COVID infections has disrupted trade between Hong Kong and the mainland and caused Hong Kong exports to plunge almost 9% year-on-year in March. How do these supply chain problems affect Hong Kong businesses?
So over here we have some of our old products from the 1950s.
Raymond Leung runs his family's flask manufacturing business. He's had some supply chain problems during the pandemic. The products are made in Hong Kong, but the paint is produced in the mainland.
Over here we have some of our current products.
The colors are gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. We try to give new colors every year to our customers. I often find physical spray paint and then actually spray paint it onto our a prototype sample and then have this sample sent up to the paint shop and get the industrial paint color matched.
Normally, the process takes about 2 weeks. During the pandemic, it's extended to 2 months. Delays in receiving the paints means he's behind schedule on spray painting the batch of flasks, which delays the launch of new products.
It was a Hong Kong Industrial Design Society project. They got in touch with us and they matched us with a Hong Kong designer. The trouble we had was that we wanted to do the plastic molding in-house, but we do not have the high-precision CNC machines. So we had to get them done in China. And because we could not go up to China so easily to look at the prototypings.
And how does that affect your business?
Yet again, it's just threw us out of our initial plan because this product was planned for the Christmas season, which is normally is our best season for selling our products. Unfortunately, that was delayed by about 5 months or 6 months. So we just got our income stream delayed by about 6 months, but the investment had already been put in.
The price of raw materials has increased by about 15% compared with last year.
Oil price has gone up, and we do use a fair amount of crude oil byproducts like plastics, silicon, and that kind of stuff. So those raw materials have also been affected in terms of costs.
He's stockpiling raw materials from China and even changed some of his suppliers.
So these are some very colorful flasks you have here with a lot of different designs.
Thank you. We do all these patterns with this kind of called transfer printing technology. So what we do is we create the pattern, acid etch onto this plate, and then we would pick up some color, stamp on it, and then transfer that pattern onto the actual flask itself. Traditionally, we would get this printing plate done in mainland China. We were experiencing a lot of problems with the logistics of having it done or up and down the country, or even the supplier had trouble finding the actual plate. So eventually we found a local supplier which could do this for us.
Besides increasing manufacturing costs, the cost of transportation have also gone up.
Especially the logistics of transferring like a pallet of goods up or down the border, that has gone up maybe 60–70% as compared to middle of last year.
And he's considering raising the prices of his products this year. The mainland's COVID restrictions have hurt Hong Kong's logistics sector.
Whether the cargo is dangerous goods or not.
Antonio Lam owns a logistics warehouse in Qingyi. Typically, cargo is transported from the mainland to the city by container trucks and shipped or flown to other markets. He says the logistics industry started to suffer in February when many Hong Kong truck drivers were infected with COVID or were close contacts.
Daily, we used to have 8,000 cross-border drivers moving from Hong Kong and China every day. And it's about over 20,000 trips a day. And after the CNY, when the fifth wave is going to getting serious, we can only have 500 drivers can access to the China.
Antonio says about 2,000 Hong Kong truck drivers can go to the mainland now. But instead of driving directly to the factory and bringing the cargo back to Hong Kong, the process has changed.
They can only cross the border line and arrive at the switchboard and just leave the truck there and arrange another mainland driver to take over the truck. It would take about maybe 20 or 30 hours more per trip.
Industry representatives in the Hong Kong and Shenzhen authorities developed an alternate method of transporting goods from the mainland to Hong Kong, by sea. A 12-hour trip from the factory to Hong Kong has become a 3 to 4 day operation.
For the cost, originally we used the cross-border truck is about $3,000 per trip, but now it's talking about $15,000 to $18,000 per trip for the whole trip, including the ship, including the domestic truck and Hong Kong local truck. No matter time, cost is increased a lot.
Antonio specializes in transporting freight from southern China to the Hong Kong airport cargo terminal. His cargo tonnage has decreased by 35% compared with March 2021, and his business has been running a deficit of almost $1 million Hong Kong dollars per month since February because of the bottlenecks and rising manpower and transport costs.
We are not familiar to the sea freight operation. So that's why we put a lot of effort to contact to the terminal, the harbor terminal, to the feeders company, the shipping company. But even the supply chain in air freight is affected because the prevention measures. The international flight has been decreased a lot.
Yeah, about the China's supply chain impact, right?
Economist Tommy Wu says the trade and logistics sector makes up nearly 20% of Hong Kong's economy.
If we look at Hong Kong's post-pandemic economic recovery, a large part of the recovery was because of the strong exports, especially in 2021. So now with China's lockdowns in Shanghai, as well as the more widespread logistics problem in China, actually, that's affecting industrial production and exports in China. For Hong Kong being a major re-export hub, especially for goods from mainland China, accounting for more than 50% of the goods trade through Hong Kong, that's going to have a particularly large impact.
Hong Kong exports fell 4.5% in the first quarter year-on-year, which contributed to first quarter GDP contraction of 4% year-on-year. The SAR government downgraded its 2022 economic growth forecast to 1 to 2%. Container ships have also had delays. Tim Huxley runs a company with a fleet of 4 ships.
And this is one of your ships.
That's right. This is a Bangkok Max container ship, as we call them. So that means it's about the largest ship that can get into Bangkok.
So with the recent lockdown in the Shanghai region, how does that affect your ships?
Well, it means that they're sitting idle for a while to go in to discharge and load again. So that can be quite frustrating. So delays off ports have been a real problem for the last year or so, and in terms of Shanghai, it's acute at the moment with about 400 ships waiting to unload.
So how does that affect the supply chain then in the long run?
Oh, that has a huge impact on it. The problem is that you've got goods coming into China that are needed in the whole manufacturing process, and they can't get to the factories where they're needed. Because of testing and because of the infection rate, there's been a big decline in the availability of trucking capacity, and obviously so you can't get the containers either into or out of the ports.
He has a ship that trades from Chittagong, Bangladesh to China. Normally that would take 30 days round trip. Now with the delays, it's an additional 10 days. The demand for shipping is so high that container shipping rates and the price of chartering container ships has gone up by as much as 10 times compared with the pre-pandemic days.
Our ships of about 2,000 containers. At the peak last year, for short charters of about 6 months, they would be getting about $80,000 to $100,000 a day. And it's not far short of that now.
In April, the IMF slashed China's GDP growth forecast from 4.8% to 4.4%, citing a worsening economic slowdown. The Chinese government is working on returning Shanghai, a key manufacturing and logistics hub, to normality by June. In the worst-case scenario, Tommy expects global GDP would be cut by 0.7 percentage points this year.
If we assume that the Shanghai lockdown is being prolonged to July, and also with more widespread COVID outbreaks elsewhere within mainland China, causing more supply problems within China until, say, end of July. And so even by extending the lockdowns further out, this will actually have a very significant impact on the global economy.
We're going into the peak season in June, July, August, of when goods are shipped to the US, to Europe, and so there's a massive increase in demand there. If we still have all of these lockdowns going on into the peak season, then that will just exacerbate the problem.
Antonio fears that if the cross-border logistics issues aren't resolved soon, Hong Kong will lose its competitiveness.
The role of international hub is getting more trouble in the recent months, we can see. And we are afraid that the shipper or the client, the customers, they will choose another alternative or go to the other logistics hub like Korea or Japan, and they're not going to come back again.
President Joe Biden has promised concrete benefits for the people of the Indo-Pacific region from a new trade pact launched last week. The pact is designed to signal U.S. dedication to the economic sphere and address the need for stability in commerce after disruptions caused by the pandemic and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, Biden said the new Indo-Pacific Economic Framework would also increase cooperation with other nations in the region. The White House says the framework will help member economies work more closely on issues like supply chains, digital trade, and clean energy. And in comments that are sure to set alarms off in Beijing, Biden said the U.S. would intervene militarily if China were to invade Taiwan. It was one of the most forceful and overt statements in support of Taiwan in decades. Biden said the burden to protect the democratic and self-ruled island was even stronger after Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
When Money Matters returns, how Hong Kong's port enhances the economy of the Greater Bay Area. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Matters. China's dual economic strategy aims to expand the country's domestic consumption while strengthening connections with international markets. Hong Kong offers world-class transport infrastructure the Greater Bay Area can use to reach foreign customers. Reporter Alice Kahn looks at how the SAR helps connect the GBA with the world.
Today, 2 ship surveyors are going to Kwai Sing Container Terminal to check a vessel. The terminal is the top 10 busiest port in the world. They need to finish examining the vessels within 6 to 8 hours before their departure. The amount of cargo, or throughput, passing through Hong Kong's port complexes was once the largest in the world for 12 consecutive years. But over the years, China's port infrastructure has expanded and improved. Mainland-made goods now are shipped directly overseas. As a result, Hong Kong's port has been surpassed by the port of Shenzhen and Guangzhou in terms of throughput. In 2020, Shenzhen and Guangzhou ranked 4th and 5th in the world, while Hong Kong ranked 9th.
Now we can see there are 3 major ports within the GBA. After a long time of interaction and competition, these ports basically complement each other. Guangzhou Port mainly handles the cargo shipments from the west of Pearl River Delta, while Shenzhen Port is responsible for the cargo from the East Pearl River Delta. Hong Kong is well known as an entry port for trade.
Although Hong Kong container traffic has dropped, Hong Kong maintains its position as an international maritime center. Hong Kong provides frequent and comprehensive liner shipping services connecting to nearly 600 destinations worldwide. The free port policy also enhances Hong Kong as a leading international maritime center.
Hong Kong is a free port. We only have to levy customs tariffs on 4 import-export products, including vehicle, petroleum, liquor and petrol-related products. We maintained a simple customs clearance procedure, which can be done within 14 days. Then the products can be re-exported to the mainland, ASEAN countries and many places. If you miss one sailing, then you may just need to wait for another week. That shows we are relatively efficient.
Hong Kong is known for its status as a free port and legal system. With these advantages, Hong Kong can facilitate the connections to other GBA cities with international markets. The maritime industry is key to this role. In November 2021, Hong Kong hosted the inaugural Greater Bay Maritime Forum. During the event, 2 memorandums of understanding were signed on cooperation and promotion of international maritime arbitration between Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong, and on cooperation in maritime development. In the past years, mainland and overseas ship owners chose Hong Kong to settle maritime insurance, other legal issues, and arbitration.
The maritime law practiced in the international community is under the common law. Hong Kong has an advantage in this aspect. Hong Kong is a superconnector. It can connect countries with different financial and legal systems, and under the one country, two systems policy, they can collaborate together. I think Hong Kong is a very unique place which cannot be replaced or compared with others.
One direction of GBA development is that Hong Kong helps open up other GBA cities and speed up their economic development. GBA cities have a natural advantage in manufacturing, while Hong Kong is a middleman to bring GBA products to overseas markets.
Hong Kong will play an important role in the financial sector. For example, when mainland trading companies come to Hong Kong to do financing, they realize Hong Kong has a good knowledge about international markets. Many multinational companies also come to Hong Kong to set up their headquarters to exploit the market. Actually, we have done a lot of research and development in the mainland, and we have knowledge about overseas markets. Then with these advantages, we can offer more value-added services for our US, European and Chinese clients. We can also offer a holistic solution for our clients.
In the area of air transport services, Hong Kong has been frequently ranked one of the world's best airports, and it is a major hub for exporting high value-added products.
At the moment, electronics accounted for 70% of our total exports. In the area of air transport, Hong Kong has good connections with the region, and we are very efficient. Usually, the spare parts of electronic and upstream electronic products would be gathered here, then Hong Kong provides distribution services.
So some mainland logistics enterprises chose Hong Kong as one of their centers for global smart logistics, distributing to the world within 72 hours.
Currently, airlines link Hong Kong International Airport to about 220 destinations worldwide. Mainland China can't compare with it. We use Hong Kong as our center, which offers convenience and efficiency. So, under the dual circulation development strategy, Hong Kong is an international hub, which would greatly enhance our foreign trade.
Hong Kong exporters have established business connections around the world that would help buyers in procurement, logistic arrangements, financing, and legal settlement. Hong Kong can offer offshore trading services. That means the goods do not need to distribute to Hong Kong.
Actually, Hong Kong offers a high-end supply chain management. We offer more value-added services as we help our European and US clients to gather information about the market. We offer services in many areas. When they come across a procurement issue in one place, we help them to switch to another place. Hong Kong transformed from a high-value manufacturing center to a service provider.
The goods are distributed to different places in the world. The purchasing, distributing, and supporting are usually done in Hong Kong. When we look at global trade, services trade is gradually rising.
A platform slowly rises from the launch pad, carrying a drone towards the sky. Once in position, the machine takes off and heads out to complete its mission. This unusual facility is the urban airport, billed as the world's first vertiport. It's not just for drones, though. The aim is that hubs like these will be used by flying taxis, transporting passengers on short journeys from city to city. It's been designed very much like an airport, with a lounge, security gates, and a takeoff area. This one's been dubbed Air 1 and could one day be home to electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, eVTOLs, like this model currently in development. The passenger air taxis are currently being certified. Some of them are aiming for takeoff in 2024. The company behind this vertiport plans to build 200 of them around the world over the next 5 years. This urban airport has been built in a car park in Coventry City Centre and took 11 weeks to construct for about $12 million US. It's estimated a 4-passenger vehicle like this one could transport 150,000 people a year. At the moment, legislation means they can only fly drones that are within their sight line. But a change in the law could expand that so they can fly further from their bases. Local police say there's been an explosion of drone usage in the UK, so facilities like this one could play an important role in areas from law enforcement to package delivery.
That's the show. Thanks for watching. Next week on Money Matters, how the UK's trade shows have reopened to the world. See you then. Good night.